Believe it?
I, it's been a while, and I appreciate the respite, the possibility, the op no, the opportunity to just unplug for a couple of days and sharpen my axe and become a little bit more rejuvenated and reconnect with loved ones. And I say that because sometimes we get so busy, we're chasing, we're running so fast, we're trying to balance too many balls or whatever cliches, metaphors, or similes that are out there, and I realize that if we don't take time, we will lose out on a lot of significance along the way. My mom used to tell me, son, that sometimes you just have to stop and smell the roses. And it was just good to get away and think and reflect and as I say, oftentimes just to noodle, um, and and be reflective. So I'm back.
You're bad.
I'm back, and in being back, I think I was open-minded. Open-minded. Let me see if I can help you with that. You had sent me a text. It was a recording of a conversation between you and someone, one of the apprentice, I believe.
Yep.
And I was listening, and I don't remember what he said, but let me tell you what I heard.
Okay.
He said, "What do I do now?" He said, and so I said to the audience, "What do you do now?" And let me expand a little bit. He said, "I've got the scripts.
Hmm.
I've got we're talking about wholesaling properties. I've got a script what to say about to the buyers and to the sellers.
Hmm.
I have a list of people to call.
Hmm.
I've got the checklist. I've got everything. So now help me. So what do I do now?" And Leland, I was thinking about that, and it caused me to reflect. That's where a lot of us are.
Right.
We we've got everything that we need to take a step. And for whatever reason, we fail to take a step. Um, so if if I've got everything before me
Okay.
and I refuse to implement anything, then I end up doing nothing and blaming someone or the process or the system or something that it doesn't work when I'm not freaking working. I don't know whether I'm making sense to you. Okay. And
Yeah,
and
you-
I and I thought about that, and I started to listen, and I listened and I listened, and what I was hearing somewhat, again, this is me interpreting what I think I heard, was he kept making excuses as to why he wasn't working, but he was pointing a finger at the process in the system. And I realized, I said, you know what, Hank, you're always talking to people about how to get from point A to point B. Don't you become a victim of your own of your own discussions or what have you. So I said to myself, does he have a goal? He says he does, but is it written down? I mean, is it something that he can reflect on frequently? I would say constantly, almost daily. And if he's got a goal, then has he developed a plan that will help him to achieve the goal?
mhm.
So if he's got a goal and he's got a plan, then he does he have a strategy? because just having a plan is all well and good. Russia had a plan, and I won't get into the war, but Russia had a plan. And then because I heard he had no plan, I mean, he had no goal, because you said to him, what locality are you wanting to focus on? And he's in a major city. And he said, well, what do you mean? Which meant that he hasn't been listening to the training that we've said. So then you say zip codes. And he said, well, I know the city, but I'm not familiar with the zip codes. And you were giving him additional bullets for his gun, and he's just leaving them on the table. So I said to myself, self, be careful. Be careful. Don't don't assume too quickly that you know his plight or his ploy. And I'm going like, okay, that's cool. But then I said, if he's got no goal, he's got no plan, he's got no strategy, that means he's got no success. Okay. And if he's got no success, he's got no future. Now, people say, well, that doesn't make any sense. Well, I ask you again, what do you do now that you've got everything that you need to be more successful than you are right now? Are you going to complain about the banks that are closing in California? Did you run to the bank over the weekend and draw out all your petty cash?
I didn't.
I didn't either. I just sort of sit back. I was in Virginia. My
I
brother
mean,
said,
I'm told that it's secure up to what, 250,
yeah,
250,000.
but the president said, for those of you who got big bucks in the bank, you too will be made whole. And I'm going like, wait a minute, that's unusual now, because everybody's going to be made whole according to the president and the systems, the processes that they put in place. Okay. Then there are people arguing and saying that the people who had money, who had done nothing wrong, who had more than 250,000 in the bank, that they shouldn't get their money back. Yeah, and that's the callous thinking that we sometimes have, because we don't have a good grasp or understanding of what's important and what's significant. So, Leland, I know you have a mentor.
Hmm.
I know you have some running partners and running dogs, as we say. Okay.
Sure.
Do you think I have mentors?
Absolutely.
Now, you notice mentors.
Plural. Is that plural, Hank?
Hey, plural.
Plural. Absolutely.
And I know you got running dogs. I got running dogs.
Arf, arf, arf.
I know that the big dogs run with other big dogs.
Correct.
But particularly those who speak to us in a manner that says you need a goal, you need a plan, you need a strategy to be more successful. I don't listen to all the big dogs, but trust me, all the big dogs run with other big dogs.
Yeah, it's
So
called a pack, right?
absolutely, and it's like the Iditarod, the whatever the guy is that's got the sled. Every now and so often, he has to rest the lead dog, and he's got other dogs that he puts in the lead dog position, right? Because everybody can't lead,
Correct.
right? So
And
with the
not everyone is meant to lead all the time.
well, you'll basically burn out. So I say, all right, they've got mentors, they got running dogs. So they got, again, you got mentors, you got coaches, you got running dogs, and those individuals, I believe, help you to have guardrails and guide rails
And checkpoints.
and So, Leland, why are guardrails and guide rails and checkpoints essential to success?
I'll take it a step forward. I mean, I'll take it a step further into a metaphor. If guide rails or guardrails were not essential for success, we would never take a baby by the hand so that the baby can learn how to walk.
Mm, mm, mm.
Because if it was as simple as, oh, just get up.
Well, my wife is a medical doctor, as you know, and she would say when we first got married, she didn't say it when we were dating because it wouldn't have mattered. She says in the medical profession, they see one. The philosophy is to see one, then do one, and then teach one. And early in this relationship, it didn't really click. Okay. But then it started to make all the sense in the world. And your example of the baby made sense because eventually the baby starts to run. But you know why the baby runs? Not because mom and dad are running. The baby sees another baby doing what, Leland?
Running.
Running. Running. Okay. And we talk about iron sharpening iron, and you need to recalibrate, and you need to do all these things. We hear that, but we still haven't had a change of mindset. We still got stinking thinking because we don't have a good running partner, a good road dog. We don't have a mentor. We don't have a coach, and we're trying to coach ourselves. I remember when I started to try to play tennis, I saw someone hitting the ball against the wall, garage door, and I thought that was how you learn to play tennis. And then I went out on the tennis court where they had a net, and somebody else banging that ball back across the net at me, and I'm going like, "Oh, hey, I need to step up my game." So I stepped up my game by getting a something called a a coach, and then I became pretty good at it. But then I still had to practice, practice. My question is, are you practicing to be better, or are you practicing to be sedentary and ordinary?
Say that one more time for me.
Okay.
Just one more
Are
time.
you practicing to be better, or are you practicing to be sedentary and ordinary? Are you just sitting on the sofa? Are you continuing to do the same old things and not looking to be better because somewhere someone has said or something happened that says you're not worthy? You can't do this. You don't need this. And if you've got that thinking going on in your head, what's going to happen to you, Leland?
You will manifest that.
Absolutely. And if you've got the right road dog, running partner, mentor, coach, friend, okay, that you can, who could not, no, you don't have to talk to them. You don't have to talk to them. You you can be around them and they will recognize, or they would have heard something and it clicked and they go like, oh man. And I say that because again, in Virginia, talking to my brother over the weekend, I was probably maybe lamenting a little too much. So we were talking this morning and was talking, and he said, hang on a second, am I on speaker? And I said, yeah. He said, turn speaker off for a minute, please. I need to tell you something. So he knows I'm home. My wife is running around and all this other stuff. And in a few words, he let me know that I have to let go and let God. Now, people go like, what the hell is he talking about? Sometimes you have to be able to let well enough alone and listen to the advice, that guardrail, okay, of a mentor, a road dog, a running partner. And it just made all the sense in the world. And I said, I have to learn to be more observant in less verbal. Okay. So those checkpoints,
I want to say this though. There
please.
are some people that they still have a microwave type mentality, and what that means
Oh my
is,
Lord.
and this is honest, and but see, I'm gonna say this, and we're gonna laugh.
Say
People are
it.
gonna watch this, and they're gonna laugh,
Mm-hmm.
but then they're not gonna realize until it's too late that I'm talking about them.
Mm.
So let me give
Ow.
everyone an example. Normally, what happens throughout the calendar, the whatever, Gorganic, Gormeric, whatever calendar,
Mhm.
Gorgadrian calendar, whatever. During that calendar, we have something called December. And December is where most people, they just got off of their high of having gluttony for Thanksgiving for most people. And then they go ahead and have another helping of gluttony for quote unquote Christmas, right?
Mhm.
Then all of a sudden, it's almost as if they forget that every year after December comes January. But for some reason, like the last couple of days of December, they come up with all these grandiose ideas of how they're going to like reinvent themselves, how they're going to have the best physique ever.
Resolutions.
Yeah, all these resolutions, right? Be
Mhm.
quote unquote resolute. And what actually ends up happening is once the mysticism of January passes, after the energy of saying I'm this, I'm that, or my goal is this, or I'm going to weigh this amount of pounds, or whatever. After that all fades away,
Mhm.
reality sets in, and so does their mindset and identity, because they identified as a certain thing, and therefore they got that. And we'll take one more step further. It is similar to a person who gets excited after hearing about or seeing someone else's transformation. Let's say the transformation of their physique.
Mm, mm, mm.
They hear that person used, I don't know, let's say P90X, right? Or Sean T, right? Something like that.
Nordic track.
Right, something like that. Or Tybo, right?
Yeah.
So they say, wow, that person looked similar to me. What changed for that person is that person chose to use Tybo. I'm going to
Mhm.
go ahead and invest money for me to use Tybo. And they equate them spending the money to buy
Oh Lord.
Tybo
Oh Lord.
as if they have bought the result. So then months go by. It's now June, and they don't have the quote unquote beach body that they want.
Mm, mm, mm.
They then complain to people and say, "Yeah, Tybo don't work." Meanwhile, Tybo is sitting in their living room,
Waiting for him.
you know, or if it was used, it was only used for like that first week of January.
Mm, mm, mm.
Instead of them realizing that whether it was Tybo, Sean T, P90X, or anything else, if the identity
Mm,
did not
mm,
change,
mm.
the result would have never changed. And there are some people that will choose to invest in a course, invest in information, invest in mentorship. They will never show up for the meeting with their mentor. They will, or some people will call or show up for the meeting, Zoom or physical meeting with their mentor, get the instruction on what to do,
Mhm. Mhm.
and then choose not to do it, whether subconsciously or non or whatever. They will choose not to do it, consciously or subconsciously. They will choose not to do it, and then they will blame the world for their own circumstance.
Mm, mm, mm.
That is similar, ladies and gentlemen, to someone buying all the workout facilities and sneakers and everything else, setting those things up in their home. Like they took the time to even put together the treadmill.
Mm, mm,
They
mm.
got their Peloton bike right there in the corner.
Mm, mm,
They
mm.
never get on.
What they What they fail to do is realize is they can't eat that big slice of carrot cake and that cheesecake and that Big Mac and them fries. Okay, can't continue to do that and get that beach body, which says that they had good intentions. I think most people have good intentions,
I mean, yeah, yeah, sure, why not?
but we have to be willing to change,
Absolutely.
and that's when the hurt happens. But I've seen that commercial, no pain, no gain, and the pain is not always physical.
That's right.
So Leland, so again, it goes back to what do you do when you know what to do, when you know how to do, okay? Are you going to continue to complain? Are you going to continue to be frustrated? Are you going to continue to lament? So I say to you, what makes you so special to think that you can get there, wherever there is, get there alone? What makes you think that, again, what makes you think you're so special? And I understand sometimes we need to run alone. I used to say that I used to run alone early in the morning. I'd run 2 or 3 miles, but when I ran with somebody, it didn't matter. I may meet someone along the road as I was jogging. He, she, we ran further, faster, better than trying to do it alone. So as I do that, Leland, I know that at some times that we just need to put some a punctuation on some of these things that are happening to people, because we've tried to say to be better, you must be willing to do better and do better. It's not just a desire. You got to start to execute. You can't hide behind fear, anxiety, doubt, uncertainty, skepticism, frustration, and failure, small failure, to get there. You have to be willing to brush all of those things aside and continue the battle. And I go back to Ukraine. Outmanned, outgunned, and all of that. And a year later, they're still holding on. They're still fighting back. They got a cause. They've got a reason to. So my question to you listening is, what's your reason? Because either you have a reason to do or a reason not to do. So where do you fall? Because you can't be in both camps. You got to, I would say, choose a camp until that camp becomes a habit, because it's not always convenient. It's not always convenient, but trust me, the results will be sweet. Not bittersweet, they will be sweet. But you've got to wanna, and you've got to be willing to stay the course. So I just say, please, please, please keep your enthusiasm in check and stop making excuses, because if you're married with a family,
Mm.
your family, those faces are being neglected by your action. And you go like, well, now, man, no, because you could do better, you could be better if you made a decision and then followed through, if you had a plan. So I just say to you, what do you do now? because nothing's going to change until you change. And my question to you is, will you start to change today to be better, to have a better life, to really enjoy life, to be able to unplug for 5 or 6 days, unplug for a week, and not worry about the boss, the job, the chickens, the dog, worry about none of that, because you're in a better place.
Hmm.
And that's all I want you to do, is just to be in a better place. Okay? I want you to run with the big dogs. And I will see you tomorrow.
Hey guys, you gotta be willing to run though.
They say, well, my knees are bad. Well, I got bad knees, but I'm still running. Don't miss that. My knees are bad, but I'm still running. Because I want you to do all that you can, as long as you can, to the best that you can.
Mm.
And we all can.